到职业机器了？我
超到翻了你。
那是对人路。
啊，那个车。
哇，这不看了，我这钱都可倒了。
Oh, wow! Wow!
In both the United States and China, summer began like any other. Warm days, growing crops, families planning holidays. But beneath this seasonal rhythm, the atmosphere was brewing something far more dangerous. In Texas, the air thickened with humidity as a slow-moving storm stalled over the hill country. In China's Yunnan province, relentless monsoon rains began pounding mountain valleys and riverbanks. No one realized these storms would soon rewrite the landscape. As the days wore on, skies refused to clear. In Texas, the Guadalupe River began to swell, fed by over 10 inches of rain in just a few hours. In Yunnan, towns like Wenshan and Pu'er faced a similar fate. Rivers broke their banks, and fragile drainage systems buckled under pressure. Rain became a weapon, carving paths of destruction through two nations on opposite sides of the world. In Kerr County, Texas, water rose so fast that streets disappeared within minutes. Cars were swept away like toys, homes submerged to their rooftops. People screamed for help, scrambling to safety as rescue boats navigated what had been highways. Meanwhile, in Zaong, Yunnan, mountain streams transformed into torrents, triggering deadly landslides that isolated entire communities.
Oh my God! What are you doing, bro?
Bridges in Texas crumbled under pressure. Roads like FM 1350 and Highway 27 were swallowed whole. In Yunnan, key highways vanished beneath water or buckled under landslide debris. From the southern U.S. to the highlands of China, access routes to safety and aid were gone. Emergency responders now had to fight both time and terrain. In Wenshan Prefecture, thousands of acres of farmland were destroyed just before harvest. Livestock drowned, rice fields vanished under brown water. Farmers cried watching a year's work vanish. In Texas, parents clung to children in trees while calling 911. Makeshift shelters filled with soaked survivors who had fled with nothing but the clothes on their backs. In Ludian Town, China, entire neighborhoods were evacuated in the dead of night. In Kerrville, Texas, people climbed rooftops to escape rising floodwaters. Families across both countries were trapped in trailers, schools, cabins, waiting, hoping, and praying that someone would come. By July 20th, Texas Governor Greg Abbott deployed the National Guard and FEMA. Helicopters, boats, and rescue teams spread across flooded regions. In China, Yunnan declared a Level 2 flood emergency. Red alerts echoed across Pujiehai and Zhishuangbana. Rescue crews, military, local, and volunteer, were mobilized with everything from inflatable boats to supply drones.
Çok kötü taştı, çok kötü taştı.
Rescue crews in Texas faced chest-deep water, blocked roads, and destroyed power lines. In Qingshui, Yunnan, city streets became rivers, with cars stacked against barriers like fallen dominoes. Public transit stopped. Power grids failed. Cell signals flickered in and out. Communication broke down when it was needed most. In both nations, civilians stepped up. In Texas, neighbors used jet skis to rescue strangers. In China, villagers hiked for miles to deliver food to isolated towns. Blankets, rice, bottled water, and dry clothes were passed hand to hand in schools turned shelters. What nature broke apart, human kindness tried to mend.
Everything was good all around that house.
As rescue operations expanded, so did the death toll. Some bodies were recovered days later. Others, washed away from riverside campsites or vehicles, may never be found. In both Texas and Yunnan, families gathered to mourn those lost. There was no time for funerals, only grief held in silence beneath rain-heavy skies. Aerial footage showed whole towns in Texas underwater, just treetops and chimneys left. In Yunnan, footage captured barns, greenhouses, and schools buried under landslide mud. From flooded basements to shattered bridges, the infrastructure damage alone would cost billions. The true cost, in homes, history, and hope, was impossible to measure.
Oh my God. You need to stop. You need to stop.
Though skies cleared in some regions, danger remained. The saturated soil in China's northeast threatened further landslides. In Texas, rivers rose again with renewed rainfall. Emergency warnings stayed in effect. Families were told not to return, even if waters receded, because disaster might strike again without warning. Recovery began with clearing debris. In Texas, bulldozers pushed piles of mud from parking lots. In China, volunteers stacked sandbags around cracked riverbanks. But rebuilding homes, crops, and communities will take months, maybe years. And for many, nothing will ever feel quite the same again. Scientists in both countries warned that these disasters may be part of a pattern. Rising global temperatures are amplifying storms, increasing rainfall intensity, and pushing infrastructure to the brink. What happened in Texas and Yunnan wasn't isolated. It was a glimpse of a more chaotic future if action isn't taken. Half a world apart, two nations faced the same enemy. Water turned wild. But their stories reveal something deeper: our shared vulnerability and shared strength. From Texas to Yunnan, it wasn't just a flood. It was a wake-up call and a reminder that in the face of nature's fury, our greatest hope lies in one another.
Can you believe this? This is my uncle. My Honda Accord, my
Filled.
If you find this coverage valuable and want to stay informed about global disasters and emergency updates, consider subscribing to our channel. It helps us reach more people and could help